Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse is a 2018 animated film. It's about Miles Morales and all of these alternate universe spider people all mixing together to take down the Kingpin and this weird super collider science gizmo he's built to open a tear in the various parallel dimensions. I have to say, as someone who reads a lot of Spider-Man comics, I hate these multi-dimensional Spider-Man stories usually. They're usually messy, convoluted, and dumb. But what's surprising about this movie is that it totally works, and it is fantastic, and it's great. Very surprising that they were able to pull off this multiverse Spider-Man story and do such a good job with it. This has got to be one of the best Spider-Man films. It is just such a joy to watch. Now, I'm going to be talking some spoilers in this movie. I'm not going to give away the overall plot, but I am going to be talking about the various spider people and the various actors and what characters they play. So if you don't want that spoiled for you, then skip this review until you've seen the movie. Now, let's get into it. This movie was directed by 3 people. So we got Bob Persichetti, Peter Ramsey, and Rodney Rothman. Peter directed this movie, Rise of the Guardians. But a lot of them have really worked on a lot of different animated films or doing the storyboards on other films. So they really do bring a lot of this visual prowess to the movie. And this movie looks great. The animation style is so unique. I've never seen another animated film that looked like this. The visuals are really top-notch in this movie. In fact, this movie really couldn't be told with like in live action or just using cartoons. It really kind of needed this animation style to really tell the best story possible. There's these scenes in this super collider, this like room where these, lasers are firing and this parallel dimension is opening, and just the way they portray that is something that would just not work in another kind of form. So they really did a top-notch job on that. Now, this movie is written by Phil Lord, who wrote the Lego Movie. So we get a lot of that humor that you see present in the Lego Movie, present in this movie. Also written by Rodney Rothman, who wrote 22 Jump Street, and he was a writer on The Late Show with David Letterman for a really long time. So you really see those comedic sensibilities present in this movie. Now let's talk about the cast. Such a fun cameo of different actors brought into this movie and all of these different spider people. Very great stuff. Okay, so we have Miles Morales, who is really the star of this film and the main person you follow. He's played by Shameik Moore, who some of you might know from the movie Dope, and he was great in this. He's really great at narrowing in on that like Brooklyn, African-American, Latino kind of voice. And he really brought some great personality to Miles. He did a fantastic job. We have Jake Johnson as this older Peter Parker, and he was really fun. Really great voice to him, really interesting. Now this Peter Parker, this older Peter Parker, I'm not going to spoil exactly what this version of Peter is, but I was very interested in this character and this world, and I really wanted to follow that version of Peter Parker a lot more. Really interesting stuff. You have Haley Steinfeld as Gwen Stacy. You might remember Haley from the new Bumblebee movie that just came out, and she was really fun as Gwen Stacy in this. We got Mahershala Ali from Green Book, as well as Brian Tyree Henry. Some of you might know him from the TV show Atlanta, and both of them are playing Miles' dad and uncle. And both of them were pretty great in this movie. We got Lily Tomlin as Aunt May. She was a pretty fun addition to the cast. We have Zoe Kravitz as Mary Jane. We have John Mulaney as this Spider Ham. He's like a Looney Tunes version of Spider-Man. That's a pig. So it's like a pig Looney Tunes Spider-Man. Really funny in this movie. John Mulaney just has a great voice. Really brings the humor. This character was so funny. He often would, when he's fighting, would use like a cartoon anvil and drop it on people and have like a cartoon mallet that he uses as a weapon. Really fun stuff. We have, now I didn't recognize his voice when I was watching the movie. It wasn't until afterwards that I found this out, but there's this Spider-Man noir character, which is like a 1930s black and white version of Spider-Man in this noir kind of world. And the voice actor was Nicolas Cage as this guy, which was just really funny. Then we have Liev Schreiber as the Kingpin. Now, the Kingpin is my one negative in this movie. I really did not like the portrayal of the Kingpin, and I really didn't dig the voice choice. It sounded too much of like an Italian mafia boss, whereas I don't really see the Kingpin that way per se. Also, I did not like the way the Kingpin was drawn. He's so out of proportion to what a normal human looks like, which I guess the Kingpin kind of does look like that normally, but I really did not dig that. And the Kingpin also seemed a little bit too powerful in this movie when he's fighting Spider-Man, and I also wasn't really digging the Kingpin's motivations for everything, and a lot of that in this film. This movie is just really fun. It's really great seeing the origin story for Miles Morales and seeing his interaction with his parents, and then we throw all these alternate Spider people in here, and Gwen Stacy's story was pretty interesting. And then we have these two Peter Parkers, and I just want movies on all of these different Spider people thrown into the mix. Now, I would have been fine if we just left it at that for the Spider people. Once we throw in the Spider-Man Noir and the Spider Ham, and then there's this Japanese Spider Girl, which has this robot. And maybe that was a little bit too much, but I mean, still really fun throwing them into the mix. Overall, I really like this movie. My only negatives are the Kingpin, as well as maybe it was a little bit too jokey at times, but still, this is a fantastic movie. One of the best movies of the year, definitely in the top 10 or top 20. I would give this movie an 8.5 out of 10. Totally worth seeing. Check it out.